I would agree. So now I don't believe we did ours. What is your prediction for this series?
I'm going to have to go with TheOne here. I think TheOne, they feel the pressure, or they're slowly starting to feel the pressure that every tie right now is only going to cripple them even more if they really want to make it to BlizzCon, which without a doubt is the ultimate goal. So I think they're going to come here very hungry, very motivated, and very eager, and they're going to take this 2-0. What about you?
I agree with the percentages compared, and I believe it's going to be a 1-1. 50% versus 50%, 2-2 versus 2-2. I believe this is going to a 1-1. Unfortunately, we are going to have to damage that symmetry, because there can only be one winner of map number 1 and one loser. As we head into the first draft, it's going to be HotsLady with the first ban, Rip Genji.
Yeah, Genji definitely out of the way, and you know what? I don't mind that at all, because Meng, from TheOne, he's been proving time and time again that he is one of the most lethal Genji players in the league, next to maybe someone like Misaka, Melody C. So, yeah, it's a respect ban. At the same time, though, it's a very safe ban as well, because, I mean, come on, it's Genji after all, and until he sees further nerfs, I think he will remain a very contested ban in almost any region.
Correct, especially when the new hero is actually allowed in like 4, 5, however many weeks time.
Oh boy, yep.
Form of Anna. That
however, we did confirm, by the way,
plus Dragonblade makes me very upset.
Yeah, Dragonblade is going to deal more damage, but the cooldown reduction is not going to affect every R strike, so it's not going to be a 0.1 R. That's actually been confirmed by Alex.
The videos that have appeared on Reddit have still shown that is a upsetting increase.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the damage is going to be through the roof, don't get me wrong. So, hard crowd control effects like silences or cocoon or gorge are going to be even more important when you see those two come onto the battlefield together.
Exactly. You're going to need some hard CC. You're going to have to be very careful with the healers of your own due to the fact that Anna's grenade's going to change it, and Anna just fits perfectly into the double support meta. She's just going to... We're not seeing the end of it anytime soon with her coming in. Speaking of heroes who we haven't seen in a while, somehow Tassadar and Ariel both make it through after being ignored completely for like the first... every game yesterday except the last series.
So the trend of Lunara continues, and this time she even got her best friend for life next to her, which is Ariel. Of course, getting plenty of energy from all that spread out poison damage. Really cool to see. Let's see if TheOne can continue this trend. As we said, it seemed like none of the Chinese teams, bar SBT, who managed to best the Lunara yesterday, seem to really have a... I just don't understand, by the way, why Uther still gets picked into Lunara all the time. It just defies all the explanations and all the reasonings we tried to give. I mean, the Tassadar softens it up a little bit by providing additional protection and life leech, but still, it normally defies all reason to continuously pick Uther into that Lunara, don't you think?
I think so. It's tradition, and just believing TAS can make up for it. Which, to be fair, is not too out of the realm of possibility. It's just still weird.
I mean,
for those who are asking, by the way, just quickly, Kel'Thuzad is still not allowed. Exactly. He will be available next week. So be sure to jump back for what will be the final week of HGC China before BlizzCon to see how Kel'Thuzad has an effect on their meta leading into the biggest event of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm really excited because there's been a lot of speculation about Kel'Thuzad. There's a lot of people saying that he's just flat out broken right now. And there's also a pretty significant portion of people who are saying, like, he's actually not that good in competitive because people know how to shut him down. By the way, Tetra, so getting back on that whole Uther fiasco for many teams here in China, I think you can basically play to your strengths, right? And it's clear to see what HotsLady is trying to do. They're trying to protect the Greymane, they're trying to protect the front lines with just raw armor and maybe force a lot of, disengage on the side of TheOne. So they're trying to rely on their own strengths more than being afraid of what the enemy team has. However, if you take the overall success rate of Uther into account that we saw yesterday and the week before, I'm just not sure if you should bank on that anymore. I think you should really respect the Lunara a little bit more and pick something like Malfurion, Brightwing, or Rehgar instead.
Yep, I would agree with you. Just play safer. Don't rely on the armor. Don't rely on a second support to do the job, because if one dies, you're screwed. Yeah, I agree. That is a very accurate assessment. But let's see if it is what HotsLady go for, because they're stuck with this now. It's unlikely they'll go for another support here. And here comes a lot of CC. So Uther does get a little bit more value here, especially if he wanted to in theory go for Guardian. He could actually get even more armor to protect against the poison.
Yeah, very true. So Guardian of the Ancient Kings is still an option. However, in China, we've basically never seen it in weeks. Yeah. There's only been the protection of... I'm not going to call it freedom this time. No, there's only the cleanse substitute that Uther has at level 7 at his disposal. But as you said, there's a lot of frontlining now available. There's a lot of CC available for TheOne as I'm getting the first lag spike of the day.
Me too.
Let me just double check here real quick.
Try to refresh.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to refresh as well. Sorry guys, that's just the crux sometimes of streaming from a clean feed. I'm
back to 8, so that's actually
back
pretty,
to 7.
pretty
there we
decent.
Go.
Nice.
Seems good. I like the Muradin pick here, by the way, as a response to that Sonya with the stuns, the potential interrupts with Skullcracker. Kind of cool to see Dahaka also really solid on Dragonshire. I don't think there's any map where you can't really pick Dahaka, but on those, you know, super good global maps, he excels very much.
Definitely so. And like you said, the Muradin, Skullcracker, and if not, long-range stun, interrupt for Moshpit makes that a little bit less likely. Definitely a super solid choice, and of course someone who poison does do a lot of damage, but it doesn't actually count to being in combat for Muradin's trait, so he can actually has a good chance of surviving even if he does eat all the poison damage, and that's what he wants. He wants to eat all the poison damage. However, an issue he can have is the potential for percentage damage, as a second support of Karazim comes in with the option of the 7-sided strike, and if not, it is still extra protection for that Sonya and for that Lunara.
And you know what, Tetra, this is almost a 100% 7-sided strike game, because with an Auriel in your team, you don't really want to risk overlapping your Divine Palm with, let's say, the Crystal Aegis. So, for example, you palm somebody, then the Crystal Aegis goes off, and your palm...
If you take a Palm and Resurrect, can't double overlay them.
That would be next level. That would be next level Chinese meta. I'm not sure if the world is ready for it, though.
Take Malthael and Diablo as well, just infinite revive team. Death cannot stop us.
Oh my god.
Going. And Uther with Redemption. There you go. We've made it. We did it.
Alright, Tetra. So, first draft of the day. Who would you give sway to? Who convinced you more?
I'm always a fan of the Lunara comp when there's an Uther on the other team, especially if it's only really backed up by a task. Kala's Light can seriously help, though. They're going to be able to stack armor pretty severely. The Muradin pick really impressed me. But like you said, if it's a 7-sided Karazim, even if it isn't 7-sided Karazim, I think that that's enough healing for them to just control the game. As long as they don't get out-rotated by Dahaka, this should be the ones.
I'm gonna have to agree here. I think the ones composition overall looks a lot more scary. They've got really good responses as well to the likes of Muradin. As you said, 7-sided strike, wonderful. I think Lunara is just too much of a powerhouse in China right now, but we're gonna find out in a bit whose opinion is going to hold truth to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the first game here between HotsLady and their opponents from TheOne. And starting off day 2 of week 4 in HGC China is HotsLady in the left-hand side in blue. We have 365 on the Tassler, again plays Uther, Feet B on the Greymane, Kid on Dahaka, and Carlo on the Muradin.
Whereas on the right-hand side, we're going to be seeing TheOne with the longest acronym of all time. Hugo is playing the Sonya, Lucky on the ETC, Meng on the Lunara, Zyran on Auriel, and Hehe is playing the Karazim.
Waiting for that! Thank you, Tetra. That made my day already.
It's never lined up. It's never lined up.
Just comes naturally, you know? I like it. Okay, Cheeky Wisp scouting out the Dahaka. Of course, that's a very common strategy. Dahaka going in very quickly with that Burrow Charge, Brushstalker, excuse me, and of course trying to, you know, lick someone into the bush only to get sandwiched by the rest of the team. But of course, the Wisp preventing exactly that. Now, Sonya going immediately for that top lane. At the moment, Dehaka realized, oh, we're not going to catch anyone. I might as well just go top already because I don't have my Brushstalker available. Immediately laning against the Sonya, whereas the rest of the team now trying to go for some rotations. Rotations, of course, very important when it comes to playing maps like Dragonshire. And you can really see how Ariel and Lunara went all the way towards the right lane or right-hand side. They do not want to get caught by someone like Muradin, by someone like Dehaka in the middle of those bushes. So they just go for very safe rotation routes, and I like that. Oftentimes in Hero League you get caught because you're going the most obvious, pathing, and you might get punished for it.
Speaking of getting caught, we do have Greymane, taking a fair amount of damage.
Yep.
And let's talk about some of the talents we do see at level 1. Block Party for ETC. Gotta try and block that Greymane damage, as he is basically the hyper carry for the team. We have the Iron Fists for the Karazim,
like
maximum damage again. He's going to be able to get some good focus later on. Warpaint for Sonya, help her lane against Dehaka fairly easily. Speaking of which, Dehaka, the speed boost, not going for that one healing build that we saw yesterday. And Muradin, as you just saw there, taking the Perfect Storm, getting that damage up, not going for the third wind, which is the other option here, to try and deal with that Lunara poison. And Uther with the level 1 Q talent, which I've completely forgotten the name of, Silver Touch?
Yeah, it's the Silver Touch, exactly.
Silver Touch, and that is going to allow him to, potentially go into a Holy Shock build. We will have to see. Yeah, even more poke.
The cool thing about Perfect Storm on Muradin in particular on a map like Dragonshire, I think, is that due to the way the map is designed and due to the size of the map, it's very easy to constantly throw those hammers onto your opponents because you're very likely going to meet them in rotations all the time, right? Yeah. So the value you can get is going to amplify a lot. In the meantime, Hugo in trouble uses the spear to get out of harm's way and manages to do so. But Kid already making a statement here. Hugo is going to have to heal, use the healing fountain right of the get-go, and whew, that was quite close.
Yeah, good job. Well laned there by Kid. Good start onto Meng. Rip Meng. The deer goes down. Zyran did not have enough healing to deal with that.
Yeah, really cool to see. Now, once again, we see Tassadar stacking those shields up in terms of armor with 15 armor with Kala's Light. Oh my goodness, Lucky was so late there. I'm not sure if his knockback was on cooldown or if he just mistimed it.
He was stunned by Carlo.
Yeah, he was stunned by Carlo as well, so beautifully done by Carlo in the meantime, but...
oh, and they're raiding. Okay. Well, EGC has managed to join his team via Dragon Knight, so they are able to secure that camp at least. Kid and Hugo still battling up here. Dragon Knight at the moment just going for towers. Well, probably won't go too much further and may even rotate to bot lane here. No, it's going to keep going mid because the rest of his team's putting pressure on bot. Again, has found Lucky and Hehe, trying to give Feedbee a chance to escape. Not going to happen, though. 4v1, that ain't happening. Muradin has arrived back, though, and as such, they're actually putting some pressure onto yet another tower, and maybe even this 4C ETC.
Yeah, that was a nice punt as well, because, you know, when a hero like ETC nails you down on the Dragon Knight, and you can't really do anything as a result.
Oh, whiffed! Get juked! You could just dodge the stop bolt and the drag. That was awesome.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, that was close.
Goes to show how... I mean, we talked about the mechanics of Hugo before, and we said that due to mechanics and his exceptional game sense, we would actually draft him into our dream team from China, or of China. So, really cool that he does not disappoint us here. Now, let's see. He goes for the Poison Spear, so he's going for the full DPS, full auto attack build. And Tetra, you can probably explain to us why he didn't go for any spin to win talents.
Because Muradin can continuously interrupt. There's also Uther. Basically, there's too many consistent stuns. Dehaka gets an attack speed, gets a stun cooldown when he auto attacks. There's going to be too many interrupts, meaning that, yeah, it seems like it would make more sense to have the Whirlwind back up more because it's going to be interrupted more often. But in this case, Hugo's entire objective is to blow up someone and rely on the double healers to keep them alive instead of trying to Whirlwind when it's going to just be continuously interrupted. Yeah, you'll have it off cooldown more, but it's still going to get interrupted again. So it makes more sense to just try and blow the enemy up and rely on your teammates to help you.
Yeah, definitely true. Couldn't agree more. And keep in mind that the Poison Spear, while it only occurs every now and then, depending on the cooldown of your ability, it still adds additional poison. That's exactly what Uther is struggling against. Now, speaking of struggling, Feedbee is in trouble, gets a shield last second, but refuses to go back.
Here's also taking a huge amount of damage, dashes to his teammates in the backline, though. Lucky powers through, but the huge amount of stuns, it's not enough. They turn it around and they kill off Greymane. Now, EGC just got hit with everything there. There's no way he should have lived, but the fact he did Brilliant play, and that was a 4v5 where they were actually able to pick up a kill. Hugo still pushing top. TheOne taking a significant lead with that play.
That was just so well played by Lucky and the rest of his team. Like, Lucky on the ETC, he managed to really use those knockbacks and those stuns when it was really needed. He didn't use it right off the get-go. He actually baited the enemy team into focusing him a little bit more, giving them a false sense of security, only to get healed by Zyren, only to knock them back, and only for Lunara to really punish them hard by spreading the AoE damage. So that was the kind of communication you have to have in those team fights that really punishes the enemy team while also giving you tons of benefits. So just wonderful cohesion, wonderful synergy here by the individual members from TheOne.
As we do see TheOne trying to put some pressure on, looking for the Dragon Knight, were not able to get in there, as again, not the best lane to be solo in, gets himself a lot of damage but is able to survive. As level 10 is available for TheOne, it is a 7-sided game. No Resurrect, it is in fact the standard Crystal Aegis to protect against all that burst damage, Leaping Strike, Mosh Pit, and Wrath of the Berserker. In response, once again, pretty standard. Divine Shield over Divine Storm and Isolation over Adaptation, and go for the Throat over the Curse Bullet. Those are the only real differences.
7-sided, used as an escape here. Also nice dash to ETC, providing a little bit of healing as well with that Breath of Heaven. So nicely done by Hehe, and that's another reason why the 7-sided can be such a golden tool sometimes. Not only in terms of actually chipping down enemy warriors with the percentage damage, but also escaping certain burst damage spells and CC effects. So kind of nicely done by Hehe. Now, HotsLady, they're going in with the Archon.
And the protection was used to keep VP alive as they try to turn it around and get some counterplay. As Lucky, second time's the charm. Aegis is used isolation though on Ariel, so she can't heal, but Lucky still gets out.
Yeah. And once again, Tetcher, another 5 versus 4. For every single fight thus far, HotsLady pulls off the Dahaka from lane and says, you know what, we're going to force the issue. But they fail to actually get the value they were so desperately trying to get. And as such, TheOne is pulling ahead more and more. They're controlling both objectives now. Dahaka does not have the Brush Stalker at the ready. And this might be a zoning mosh pit. Doesn't catch Murden, though.
Yeah, Carlo, the one person to escape. It's a full 7-sided, though. And it was a valiant effort, but the first Dragon Knight of the game will be going over... Sorry, the second one of the game will be going over to TheOne. Let's see if they can get some more damage than HotsLady did. HotsLady actually got some pretty decent damage onto that mid-4. Difference is, though, they actually traded out. Hugo was about to take it, but then they were like, okay, ETC's already used Mosh Pit. Let's just stick him in it and have Sonya keep split pushing. And that's exactly what they've done. ETC now pushing the mid lane with the Dragon Knight. Sonya's back to pushing top, fighting Dahaka, and everyone else is pushing bot lane.
And that was just brutally punished here by Karazim. He realized Murden just used the Ward Toss in order to potentially interrupt the Dragon Knight, so they were aware of the fact that Murden had no chance of actually making it out alive if those 7-sided strikes hit him, and guess what? They did. One strike for each mortal sin there is. Murden, being greedy, got punished for it, had to pay with his life. Now Auriel, though, popping the Crystal Aegis, dodging the Licky Sticky Tank, but can't dodge the isolation. There she goes.
Beautifully timed by Dahaka. Lunara's in the backline, just jumping around, doing a decent amount of damage. We do see that Tastar has been punted down below, so he's got a bit more for his team here as Lucky tries to turn it around. The poison is so high. Clutch shield as Tassadar arrives back, trying to keep Feed B alive. Here, walks all the way through the towers. Feed B finally goes down. 365 wants Meg so much, but the movement speed of Lunara is too much to chase down.
I can totally understand that Karazim play, though, by the way. I know it looked foolish, I know it looked a little bit silly, but boy, was that Greymane close to dying. And at some point, you know, it almost seems like they have a little bit of a candy swinging at their backside and you just can't let go. You just need to chase that one down and try to grab it. But the poison refreshment by Lunara's W was strong enough to still finish the deal, which is so cool to see. Because guess what? Shields don't cleanse you. They don't remove the poison effect. They just absorb a bunch of the damage it provides. So, well played by Meng, patiently waiting to use that nature W, and just really, really well played.
Yeah, it's quite motivating when you think about it. Always chase your dreams, because even if you don't get the last hit, they may die to poison anyway.
Exactly. Karazim just had a lot of faith, you know, in his abilities. He thought the gods were with him, but
he did. He knew he could do it. He knew his own abilities, and the kill happened. So hashtag worth. Exactly. He may have not been involved, but hashtag worth. As we do see HotsLady on the defense, now there's a Bruiser camp joining the Siege Giants here. Unfortunately, both the healers on the side of TheOne cannot heal mercenaries, so they're not going to be able to do a huge amount about those Siege Giants being very low. So instead, they're they're healing Lucky as he stays very far forward. Kid was tempted to ambush, and in fact does, but isolation is missed. He gets the drag onto Ariel though, not enough to get the finishing kill though. Carlo is frontlining very well. 7-side is split between multiple members as Greymane is getting focused, and down he goes.
Down he goes indeed. The mosh pit was good. No immediate interrupt. Securing the one here. A lot of momentum. The double power slide locking them down as well. And the one, they're on the warpath here. Karazim is chasing relentlessly. The poison finishes off the Dahaka as well. And that was just so well played. 16 talent advantage now available as well. The mercenaries are knocking at the door here as well. And Tetra, if this continues, if these staggered deaths continue, I think this might be lights out for HotsLady.
It might be, as TheOne are attempting to at minimum grab this keep. Dragonite will be up afterwards, so they can just back up and go grab it. Karazim still yet to even pick his level 16 talent, by the way.
Yeah, 16 talent not chosen just yet. Of course, Karazim is now debating whether he wants to go for the Cleansing Touch, which is basically a cleanse on every Q, or if he wants to go for the Way of the 100 Fists, which is a little bit more of an aggressive round here. And I think if you're 3 levels ahead, you can definitely go for the Way of the 100 Fists. It's a very powerful talent. You can really make sure to continue bringing the pain, continue maintaining that lead. Although Cleansing Touch, don't get me wrong, like Cleansing Touch is still an amazing talent against Muradin, Uther, and the Dahaka crowd control effects, so we're just going to take a look at what Karazim decides to go for.
Yeah, at this point I think the only way they can really lose is by a good contagion, or a really good isolation. So I would not hate the Cleansing Touch, but it is the way of 100 Fists to try and just kill those backline heroes, because there's so much of HotsLady's game is spent retreating. The way of 100 Fists is a great chasing ability. Good stun onto Lucky there, not able to finish off Muradin as he leaps to freedom.
I think Karazim at this point is just like, you know, with Way on the 100 Fist, I could have killed that Greymane, I could have killed them all, and I refuse to look foolish any longer. I will just go for the kills now, straight up. Now, Hugo sitting in that Dragonite, very powerful after 12-13 minutes. Hehe now getting focused. He still has the 7-sided strength, though. He shouldn't be the main target for too long.
He's also able to tank through with the help of the healing of Zyran. Meng just continuing to take up that energy for Zyran with that poison. Spreading it around. Here comes Muradin, looking to try and make a play. Hugo comes out the Dragonite and isn't in the best position. He actually mystical spear to a worse position. As in comes Kid. Isolation drops onto HGC. They immediately turn the focus and are already able to pick off Sonya. They're trying to turn it around here. The 7-sided attack, but the Mosh Pit gets 3. Divine Shield onto Muradin though. Where's the Q? There it is. That gets everyone out, but Feed B is already too low, gets taken out. But Carlo is still holding the line. Kid looking for another stun. It's 1-for-1 right now. But where's the damage?
They can't do it.
Feed B down. There's no one left, and now it's Dahaka getting focused, gets a heal. Carlo with the CC able to get Kid out of there. But why did they keep fighting after losing Greymane?
Yeah, the thing is, if that fight had continued a little bit longer, and if that fight weren't so close to HotsLady's space, I think TheOne could have easily dominated, because there's no way you can out-sustain an Ariel in the late game, especially when Lunara is still in tip-top condition, continues to attack everyone, continues to spread the poison to everyone. There was just so much more sustain available for TheOne, despite only going for a quote-unquote one support comp, because Karazim at that point is more of a melee assassin, to be honest. But it was just really cool to see how HotsLady tried to defend the base. It was not successful, but at least they didn't lose the game flat out. But let's not forget that TheOne is still in a major lead, commanding lead actually. And cool to see Tetra as well, due to the fact that TheOne didn't really go for a lot of slowing effects like normally we're seeing a lot of Arthas Lunara or Stitches Lunara. Lunara did not go for the unfair advantage level 13. She went for the Giant Killer.
She did, which is kind of cool. Like you said, against these double tanks, it should help out pretty nicely. So, nice to see overall. On the bright side, for HotsLady to try and salvage some of this, heroics are about to come back. Archon and Divine Shield now available, whereas Moshman is still 27 seconds away. So if they did want to actually make a play, now would be a pretty reasonable time to do it if they are keeping track of timers.
Exactly, so if they're aware of the fact that heroic abilities like Mosh Pit are not ready, they could have gone for a play, especially since 20 is so close around the corner. It probably would have been their last chance to fight on even footing for quite some time, because only now does HotsLady get 18 themselves. Now they're going to have to turtle up a little bit, try to defend for the most part. They cannot afford to get caught, and they have to let that Dragonite go through. If they end up dying here by trying to defend the Dragonite, they're going to lose the game flat out. Whereas now they still have a chance of actually defending at the core. Although, at level 20, this Dragonite is going to hit like a truck, Tetra.
It really is. Remember, Dragon Knight does actually scale with time, I believe, instead of
it's
levels.
not with the levels,
so,
but it's...
Yeah, it's still hitting, like, I think sub 1,000 each time, but it's still chunking through that shield. And it's kind of being ignored. Everyone else is just trying to win a fight, which they're getting some really good damage in, but the core's dying, guys.
Yeah, Dragon Knight in the back, guys. We need to take care of that. I mean, of course, I know what they were trying to do. Like, they were trying to force the attention elsewhere. But as it is, the Dragon Knight, too powerful. Even Tacitus shields can't keep the core alive for now. There was nothing HotsLady could have done. So maybe contesting this right in the middle would have been the better option after all. Hard to say. When you're caught between a rock and a hard place, there's only so much you can do. But we don't want to take anything away from TheOne. They just played this game like they were supposed to. Going for a strong draft. Going for a strong game.
Very much so. Good job, and also that mosh pit at the end was very nice. It's just like, okay, we've already won, but let's just remove any possible chance of them defending and just mosh all of their damage in CC, yes. Which was very cool. Well played by TheOne. They take game number 1.